Hey. Good morning, everybody. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I'm so honored and elated that you all are tuning in with me this morning. As the old Baptist people would say, just another day that the Lord has kept me. It is an amazing day. I'm so glad and honored to have all of you all on with me, joining me this morning. And I'm much appreciative and thankful that you would be here right now with me for the few minutes that I have allotted to me. On this morning, I want to talk to you all just about a couple of things that dropped into my spirit, and I want to really share something with you that will help you on your journey and on the cause of what God is sharing on today. So I believe that this is going to be great for the time that's allotted that I have, and then I gotta get ready for worship on today. Today I want to talk about the best behaviors. Okay, how do I develop people? How do I develop people? Only leaders can develop leaders. And I'm going to show you something real quick. It takes a leader to know a leader. You might want to write these three things down that I'm going to give you. It takes a leader to know. Keyword is know. Know a leader. And next to it, I want you to actually put recruiting and positioning. Okay? Recruiting and positioning. So you must know. It takes a leader to know a leader. That is recruiting and positioning. The next thing underneath that, I want you to write, it takes a leader to show a leader. That is modeling and equipping. Okay? It takes a leader to show a leader. That is modeling and equipping. Okay? And here's the last one that I want to give you. Amen. It takes a leader to grow a leader. It takes a leader to grow a leader. That is developing, empowering, and measuring. Okay, let me give it to you again. Developing, empowering, and measuring. So hear me. You got to know, you got to show, you got to grow. This is what leaders must be able to do to help other leaders. You must know, you must show, and you must actually grow. So that means that you got to have some recruiting, some positioning. It means you got to have some modeling as well as some equipping. And last but not least, you got to have developing, empowering, and measuring. So in the light of truth, my goal for the few minutes that I'm going to have today is to help you with some people development skills quickly, to help you grow in a path that you're going to be able to follow as you seek to develop other people that you actually lead. So let's talk about recruiting for a minute. We're going to talk about recruiting. All right. Find the best people possible. Find the best people possible. So hear me, when you are recruiting, let me show you something that you need to be looking for, because the key, the proper key to success in actual recruiting is actually a clear picture of what you are looking for. Recruiting a non-leader, watch me, recruiting a non-leader to be developed in leadership is asking a horse to climb a tree. Did y'all hear what I just said? All right, that's just not going to happen. If you need a potential tree climber, find a squirrel. Okay. All right. I hope y'all stand with me. Okay. You got to find somebody who has the traits of a good leader. So I'm going to give you 4 C's that I think that will help you in recruiting. The first thing is, whoever you're going to recruit to walk with you or work with you in this season, you got to make sure that you have chemistry. You got to make sure that you have chemistry. If you don't like the person, you will not be an effective person to them. It's going to be very difficult to spend time with people, be open with them, invest in them if you do not like them or even their mere presence of being around them. Amen. If you are seriously considering recruiting or even promoting somebody, you got to make sure you spend time with the individual, and you got to make sure that they are good for you and what it is that you're trying to do and accomplish. Some people that you have put in promotion need to be in demotion. All right. So they may need to repeat the 7th grade again. They may need to repeat the 15th grade again. Y'all ain't talking to me. You got to find people on your team that you like, that you really want to work with. And if not, it's not going to be a good fit. So you're going to have some chemistry. Here's the second thing. If you're going to recruit somebody, make sure that their character is good. Make sure that you understand that whoever you're rocking with in this season, they have a spirit of confidentiality, that they have a spirit of making sure that they are trustworthy, that they know they can be tight-lipped, that you can trust them in areas. And good character must trust. Good character makes trust possible. Trust makes strong relationships possible. And lastly, strong relationships make the mentoring or the dimension that they're looking from you to be possible. All right. You will not be able to develop any person whose character you do not trust. You might want to write that down. Character is what really closes the gap between knowing and doing. Let me give it to you again. Character is what closes the gap between knowing and doing. It really aligns your intentions and your actions. That means that it can be appealing to you, but also it should be essentially good for you. If you're going to be a good, credible leader, good people are found, not changed. Can I give it to you again, please? Good people are found, not changed. So if you are going into some type of personal development, mentorship with somebody, or some type of relationship, trying to change somebody's character, you're liable to be disappointed. I'm letting you know that now, okay? So y'all with me with the 4 C's. The first C is number 1, chemistry. Number 2 is character. Here's number 3, capacity. If you're going to recruit somebody, they got to have good capacity. So if you want to develop people and they're going to become good leaders, do not ask them to do something that you're not willing to do and you don't have the potential to actually give them. Here's some areas that you need to look at when it comes to capacity and factoring in who you get to work with you. Stress management. Stress management, the ability to actually withstand the overcoming pressures, the failures, the deadlines, and even the obstacles. You got to make sure that they have a good skill set. They got to have a good skill set, and that is their ability to get specific tasks done. The next one is thinking, their ability to be creative, developing strategies, solving problems, and even actually adapting. Amen. The next one I would probably say is attitude, which would mean their ability to maintain a positive and tenacious spirit regardless of the negative circumstances. So I'm saying this because I need you to understand that your goal should be to identify their capacities and, most importantly, the capacities of the potential leaders, and recognize what their think patterns are. And when you understand what you can stretch them to into the capacity of where they can grow, you will find out some things about yourself and how you can help them bridge and wedge the gap between the two. And here's the fourth one that I want to give you, contribution. Some people possess the X factor, and I really like that. The X factor are people who I think are just bona fide winners. They are people who contribute above and beyond the actual job description or even the responsibilities. They lift the performance of everybody around them. They're the person that know how to get it started, know how to get everybody crunk, get everybody motivated, get them ready. And no matter the type of people that you need, when you discover that type of person, you need to most definitely recruit them. They are a joy to work with. You're happy to see them come. You crying when they gotta leave. It's a joy to watch people develop whatever that you put into them. It takes time and to do what needs to be done. So most leaders spend their time and energy on the wrong people. Can I give that to you again? Most leaders spend their time and energy on the wrong people. I found myself doing that, and I've been doing that for years. Amen. And I've been saying, God, you got to get me out of this. And he said, in 28 days, I'm going to show you how to flip your negative from 20% to work with the people of the 80%. And some of you right now, that at this level, you got to look at yourself. Are they part of your 80% or your 20%? Your 20% are the people that keep you down in the dumps. You're carrying people of liability. You're carrying people that is just stressful, that they're just demented. They don't have the right spirit. They don't have the right heart. The 80% are the people who you know how to stride with, know how to go along with. And watch this here. You may not always agree, but you know how to work to get the job done. I was saying to some leaders the other day in my virtual classroom, I said to them, I said, you may not all get along, but you have one common goal, and that is to build the kingdom, not your personal relationship. And some of us, we get so caught into our friendships that we forget what's important. And when you learn that, you got to know how to recruit the right people who are a a joy to work with, people who you love to be around, people who you need in your life, that's going to help sharpen your iron to make you better. And sometimes if you're not careful, you'll keep standing in that steel mill and you ain't sharpening no iron. Matter of fact, you just allowed it to be diffused and broke. So you want to make sure that you're recruiting the right people. The second thing I told you was actually positioning. So that means you got to place the right people in the right position. It's not enough to recruit good team members. You must understand where they best fit on your team. Some people don't belong in the field. Some people belong on the pine. Amen. Come on. If you're a sports person, you know that pine is that bench. Amen. You got to know how to make sure that you got the right people on the team that's willing to work and do what needs to be done to make things right. Your job is to go up the field. On last evening when I got in from meeting with my Illinois region, we had an amazing meeting. We shouldn't have been here no longer than 2 hours. We ended up being here about 4 hours and something, just having a great time. The spirit of the place was wonderful. I mean, just a sweet, sweet spirit. And God began to show me how to position some things. And when he showed me how to position some things, he told me how you got to have this, you got to have that. You got to make sure that the people are on the right page. And if you have somebody who's not on the same page with you, there will be a cancer to what it is that you're trying to build. There'll be an infectious disease for where you're trying to grow. And you got to make sure that you're positioning people the right way. So you got to make sure that you take a counseling approach, hear me leaders, as it relates to developing your people. You got to make sure that you know how to deal with their issues. You got to learn how to hear their cries, hear their woes. Amen. And every baby ain't the same. Every child is different. Every child needs a certain thing. Some need everything. Some need very little. Some needs nothing at all. But one thing about it, they all gonna need something. And you got to be able to know how to properly position yourself to help develop them and to make sure that their strengths are where they need to be to grow to where it is that they need to go. All right. So here's number three. Number one, if you all are with me, I talked about number one. I talked about making sure that you are dealing with recruiting. Okay. Number two, I said we are dealing actually with positioning. Here's number three, and I'll cut off probably after number four. Okay. Let's talk about modeling for a minute. Showing other people how to lead. Very important, because there are a few things that's more worse than a teacher who is unteachable. Amen. When you got all the answers and it's only through your perspective, only through the lens of what you see, only through your viewpoint, you're running into a problem. And as a leader, you must reproduce what it is that you are. And you got to make sure from a spiritual lens, from a spiritual sense, that you are understanding that you must reproduce what it is that you are. You should not reproduce flawed leaders. You ought to want to help leaders get better. They should learn from your experience and learn how to launch off of your shoulders to want to make them better. Everything that I talked about yesterday with my leadership here of Illinois, we began to talk about some things, and I wanted to break it down to its least common denominator. I wanted to make sure that they saw it from the smallest molecule that I can get, the smallest of the 16th of a whole inch. I wanted to make them understand exactly what it is that I was trying to convey, what I wanted them, so we all can leave with proper understanding. Sometimes you got to make sure that you model, hear me, you got to model excellence. You got to model it and show other people how to lead. You got to learn how to match what you are on paper but what comes out of your mouth. Never ask someone to do something that you are unwilling to do. Never ask somebody to commit to something that you don't commit to. Don't ask somebody to buy into something that you don't buy into. And as a leader, we must reproduce what it is that we are. For example, if you remain teachable, your people will remain teachable. If your mind is closed, the people who follow you, mind is going to be closed, because you set the tone. You set the tone for those who follow you. So hear me, if you in a mood, they gonna be in the mood. If you're sitting around crying and panting, they gonna be the same way. You too grown to be wearing diapers. You're gonna have to learn how to pull your bootstraps up and learn how to walk and do what you're supposed to do. One of the secrets of developing leaders is having people you are mentoring. Besides often than that, hear me, you got to have this going on. You got to have some authenticity. I've been talking about this word for a long time. It is the foundation for developing people. You got to have servanthood. This is the soul for developing people. You got to have growth, which is the measurement of developing people. You got to have excellence, which is the standard for developing people. You got to have passion, which is the fuel for developing people. Y'all ain't ready for me today. And you got to have success, which is the purpose for developing people. Did y'all hear what I said? So in order to be a good leader, to make sure that you are modeling, you got to have a foundation. You got to have a soul. You got to have a measurement. You got to have a standard. You got to have a passion, and you got to have a purpose. If you don't have any of them, you will not develop anybody. Did you hear what I said? Your goal at first is for them to observe you and the model leadership that you're trying to do. But as quickly as you can, the more you move on to the next phase of development. All right. So let me give you this last one. And from there, I got to get ready for service. Amen. I ain't nary shirt. Amen. Got the whole suit on. Problem. Amen. So the last one I want to give you today is